Hi, I'm Cole Gleason, a PhD student at Carnegie Mellon University, and I'll be presenting our work on making GIFs accessible. GIFs are short and silent looping animations that have become popular in digital communication, especially on social media and messaging apps. For example, this GIF shows a woman taking a sip of water from a coffee mug, then she spits it everywhere as she doubles over laughing. GIF stands for Graphics Interchange Format, and they have been used a number of ways over the decades, but in recent years they're typically used to embody an action or reaction to content online. Because GIFs are a silent visual medium, they are typically inaccessible to people with vision impairments without alternative text. We looked at GIF usage on Twitter to discern how often GIFs were accessible now, and how we can make them accessible while preserving their emotive and humorous qualities. First, we collected 108 million tweets containing 791,000 GIFs over 3 weeks. We automatically matched the GIFs to understand which were the most popular. We then sampled 97 of the most popular GIFs and coded them to understand what visual aspects might be important to describe. Around 90% were clips from TV shows, movies, or other long-form content. 92% of GIFs contained people or characters, and over 60% had facial expressions as the focus of the GIF. Some additionally had dialogue indicated with text captions. A full breakdown of GIF features is available in our paper. Twitter first made it possible to add alternative text descriptions to GIFs in their platform on January 2020. In our sample about a month later, we found that 0.04% of GIFs had alternative text added by human authors. In May, we sampled this again, finding that it had risen to 0.3%. This is consistent with prior work analyzing alternative text for images on Twitter. In May, Twitter also started to automatically add alt text sourced from GIF aggregation websites, but these are often not very descriptive. For example, in this description for this GIF here on screen is Alyssa Slater Big Brother GIF, which describes who is in it, but not the action of the spit take that is the focus of the GIF. We recruited 10 blind Twitter users to discuss how we might make GIFs accessible. They talked about their experience with GIFs, although most of them, around half, weren't familiar because they were rarely accessible currently. Participants talked about their example GIFs with us, highlighting what information was important to them in descriptions. Characters or people were deemed most important, although when the GIF came from a TV show, movie, or other long-form media, participants were somewhat divided on whether they preferred the character name or actor/actress name. For example, this GIF from the movie The Princess Diaries shows Anne Hathaway playing the character Princess Mia, as she flips a fan in front of her face while changing her expression from exaggeratedly happy to exaggeratedly sad. Some participants preferred that we say Princess Mia, some preferred Anne Hathaway. If there was any action present in the GIF, it was important to describe that. This shows Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory hyperventilating into a paper bag. While that might be easy to describe, there are more subtle actions that proved difficult. If there was any dialogue in the GIF, it was important to describe that as well. Here we see Detective Jake Peralta from the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine getting up from a chair while saying, "All right, I'm going to go cry." Participants called out a few important takeaways in this formative survey. First, they thought that Twitter might curate a library of standard popular GIFs that were accessible, which would help them choose GIFs to share with their sighted friends. Second, participants noted that GIFs excerpted from movies or TV shows might already have associated audio descriptions, which would be more accessible to them than silent animations. Finally, all participants stated they expected alternative text descriptions to be present, as this was a minimum accessibility requirement in their minds. Based on these interviews, we created some sample GIFs with alternative formats. First, we had our alternative text version. For this, it says, Michael Scott from The Office, standing in the office, yells, no, God, please. No, 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 no." Next, we recovered the source audio for the original video clip, which I will play now.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Finally, we added additional information to these by adding our own audio descriptions, where it was feasible in the short audio clips that we had. I'll play that now.
No, God!
Michael Scott from The Office.
No, God, please, no! 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 No!
We asked the same participants to listen to 15 popular GIF examples, 10 of which had all three of these formats, and 5 just had alternative text, as they either did not have original source video or we couldn't find it. After each example, participants were asked to explain how someone might use that GIF on social media. If there were multiple formats, they told us which they preferred. At the end, participants also told us about their overall format preferences after listening to all of the examples. Overall, participants said that alternative text was a mandatory minimum option for accessibility, and they always wanted that to be there. But 6 said they would enjoy using audio descriptions as a format if they were available. Some GIFs were easier to understand than others. Here are 3 of the more confusing GIFs. The first is the character from The Wire, Stringer Bell, glancing back and forth. The expression was ambiguous, and participants weren't sure if it meant disbelief, sarcasm, or some other emotion. The second is a member of the Utah Jazz basketball team giving an interview as a teammate walks by and rubs his head. Participants weren't sure what that head rub signified between the 2 players. The third is Oprah shrugging at one of her TV shows. This was confusing as the audio contained someone speaking off camera, and it wasn't related to the visual aspect of the GIF at all. Now that we know what formats might be useful and what information to describe, how can we spread accessible GIF experiences everywhere? Unlike photographs, there are fewer unique GIFs online as they are used repeatedly. We should focus on making the most popular GIFs accessible in online aggregation libraries and reuse those descriptions. After that, we should consider a high-quality production of audio description GIFs, especially for those excerpted from produced media. Many GIFs are professionally produced by TV or movie studios and released online as part of a social media marketing strategy. Just as TV networks are required to produce audio-described content, they should take responsibility for making sure their GIFs are accessible. I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors for making this work possible. Thank you for watching. You can contact me with questions at cgleason@cmu.edu or on Twitter using @ColeGleason. Please send me your best accessible GIFs. The paper can be found at bit.ly/accessible-GIFs.